Hey guys, HappyCattyCrypto here and welcome back to the channel. So that certainly was one of the closest calls in the whole 2 years that I've been involved with Lunar Classic. I've never seen something that tense, that tight, and dictate so many people's movements for 7 days overall. Many projects across the board would have prepared for the inevitability of that thing passing, because until the last 8 hours, it was passing. So it has been rejected, and a lot of you are probably going to be celebrating this, but I myself, it's a win. But it doesn't change the core issues on this blockchain, and that's what should not be forgotten today. Moving forward, it's very important that we now look at the sources of these problems. The DCM, the double noding, the network noding across board by Jesus is Lord, by Terra C Vita, which run Terraport and Terra Casino. All of these people are attributing to the same thing. Watching the validators chat, because I'm watching it, I'm viewing it. I'm not part of it. I don't want to be part of it because they're all immature. It's like watching the politicians in parliament. They're all bickering, and if they spent as much time building as they do bickering with each other or actually coming up with solutions, maybe they'd get somewhere. But honestly, all I see is people throwing low blows at each other and who can come up with like the better pun of whose NFT project's the devil and who's conning who out of what. But ultimately, the people having the last laugh here are Terraport and Jesus is Lord, because they're double noding, they're triple noding, and it's part of the core problem on this chain. So moving forward, the only way to really remedy this situation is from what I've mentioned in the two previous videos we've covered. If you haven't seen them, go back and watch them. If you haven't subscribed here yet, do it. Drop a comment, drop a like on the way out, hit the notifications bell. It's really going to help us out. So with all of that being said, go back and watch those videos. Get up to date if you haven't already. So what we need to do is remove the DCM. The DCM is what is causing all of these validators to build up their self-stake because they're getting so much from it. It wasn't like that before the DCM, because the DCM actually gives everybody more, because they're self-staking and their delegations won't go away at 15% commission. They are banking it in and they're just adding to that self-stake more and more and more. And what this community is going to have to do is really get all nodes on side, because they need to understand that they're also part of the problem. They're also allowing Jesus is Lord to run two validators through their infrastructure. So once again, they need to be on side and they need to do their part, and they kind of need to pull their finger out their backside like they did with this proposal, because without them, it's going to be not hopeless, but very hard. There's nothing we can't achieve. I always like to think that. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. But like I said, do not lose sight of what is important. I mean it, because this will just happen again, time and time over, time and time over. And during that time, whilst they're all bickering with each other, whilst they're all bitching and arguing in that validators group, once again, these people are having the last laugh. And that's why I don't engage in groups like that, because it's just childish, it's immature, and it leads us to absolutely nowhere. So let's bring up the proposals. As you can see, 10x gas fees has been rejected, but once again, they could just put it up again. They could just try again, and they could keep doing that, because guess what? They can afford to put proposals up. People like us can't afford 5 million to go down the drain, but people like that can. So remember that all of these core problems that could be solved. Long pause for dramatic effect. Because honestly, it's the only way this is going to get solved. And if you get all nodes on side and get them to understand, if something doesn't change, if rules are not put in place, if the DCM is not removed, this chain is going to continue to head in the direction it is going in. And it's not fair on all of us that have built projects and have developed infrastructure and have done all of the length work to be here and actually contribute to this blockchain. Because once again, that group's just full of validators doing absolutely nothing. There's only a select few validators that are actually doing stuff. So the proposal in itself has been covered quite broadly across the board. As you can see, there's a few different articles out on crypto news. There's some out on routers as well. And there's also ones floating about on Twitter now. So something I mentioned yesterday was the video that I have to drop. It's a bit of an expose piece, and it's on Rakoff. And in my right mind, I should drop it to honor those that we've lost to Moon Rabbit, Rabbi, and co. But I know it's going to upset a lot of people that are involved with it. But what it seems to be, and what it seems to me, with all of the evidence and all of the recent developments of what they've been posting and their links with Jewish space lasers, it's clear as day who's behind it. And it's sad to see certain people who are involved with this. And certain people that are involved with it have actually been subject to the narratives, brutality, racism, attacks. I mean, we've lost so many developers. So let me know in the comment section if you think I should drop the expose piece. And I'll weigh out the comments at the end of today. And even in time, if there's enough yays, I'll post it. If there's enough nays, I won't post it. And I'll leave it down to that. So there is a load of junk once again on the Commonwealth. Nothing has changed here. I think what is really irritating is people's abuse of ChatGPT. If you take this proposal and run it through basically a tool, which will tell you what it's been written by, how it was written, what prompts they used to write it. It can basically back engineer and back reverse what they did to get this. And it's just pathetic. I'm tired of seeing people who think they know loads of stuff, but actually they don't know anything, and they're just using artificial intelligence to literally say a paragraph of what they want to do. Add a message system. Brilliant. Okay, that could have been done in what you... And it's not just here, it's across the board. This, written by ChatGPT. So many different things, and it irritates me. Why can't someone write a heartfelt proposal that's real and actually written by a human? It's so obvious to me straight away when it's been written by ChatGPT, just because of how much we're around it now, how much we see it, and how much we have seen it. And I always think to myself, how do they come up with all of these massive words and boring, long-winded explanations? And it's just ChatGPT. And once again, it's, another repeg plan. Another enhancing voting power distribution and support and power. Double noding and voting power. You know, no one's even bothered with this. Even though I don't like this guy, no one's even bothered. No one's even bothered. And the sad part is, like I've been saying to people, the validator Terra Casino, the funds from that are generated are used to pay for mouths to speak about Terraport. So it's not community owned. All of the money's going to the system in itself. So it's just pure abuse at this point. And there's so many people that won't speak up about the double noding because they're clearly in Terraport's pocket. And I see it across the board. And it's really sad to see that people have basically been bought. They've got themselves in a position where they've lost their freedom of speech and they can't go off of what is true. What is actually happening. Instead, they have to ignore it. They have to ensure they're playing ball, right? Blowing smoke, all of these different kind of things. So inherently, this is all of the tomfoolery that's kind of going on chain at the moment. And I just know there's going to be so many people like shouting from the rafters and celebrating about this and taking it as a huge win. It's a tiny win and it's just part of the battle. And the battle's not even begun to try and remove a DCM, to try and put a limit on voting power. So when a validator like Allnodes starts dropping, right, they can't regain that voting power. And I honestly think somewhere between 5 and 6% should be where it's locked in at. And LE validators that are above that, they'll just consistently keep dropping. Every time they lose delegates, every time they do something wrong, it will just keep dropping. And eventually it will equalize itself out. And I really do think out of all of the complex kind of dynamic ways that you could go about it, I think this is the simplest solution. And it would be so easy to more or less get Allnodes and a couple of other validators in that validator group or a validator group similar and just call them out and say what we're all thinking. Say what none of these validators are saying in that group chat. They're all throwing low blows at each other, but none of them are calling each other out for the double noding, the network noding. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, is what it is at the moment. I'm going to be really kind of like cheesed off at the moment because I just spent 4 days of my life preparing to alter all of our smart contracts, all of the systems, all of the dynamic committee, everything that we've built through all of our NFT systems, the auto compounding module, which does use a dynamic system for measuring certain stuff. But it was a lot of work for us, and all because of the greedy validators. And we are lucky that it came down to being vetoed at 33.4%, which is really important moving forward. But guys, keep an eye out for more content today. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.